Sorry, Anna's making faces in the background. Stop it.
Maybe look this way.
Okay. Are you going to ask me a question, or am I just going to hit
What's
it?
the question I need to ask?
What this is all about when it goes wrong.
All right. What happens when it all goes wrong?
So one of the questions that I'm often asked is that I was really trying to grow and then it all went wrong and I got into trouble and all sorts of stuff like that. And the first thing to realize is that sometimes you're going to make mistakes, and your attitude in when you share things is the most important thing. If you come in like too intense, and if you come with all these kind of, thus saith the Lord, and really forceful, and then it goes wrong, or you're wrong, it's really hard to get out of it. But it's all about attitude. So remember, Paul said, pursue love, earnestly desire spiritual gifts, especially that you may prophesy. So the first thing is love. Absolutely do everything you can to develop your love for other people. That'll be a really good thing to start with. The other thing is humility. So if you get it wrong, or even as you're saying it, you realize you've said the wrong thing, say, look, actually, I'm really sorry. It's okay. People will respect you for that. And it'll be less likely to cause a big issue. The problem that goes on sometimes in churches and lives is when something's said, the prophetic person actually sticks with it, and then all the attitude in the relationship breaks down. So it's really important that you do everything you can to keep the relationship good with leaders where you can, and also with one another. And if you've shared something that actually didn't happen, perhaps the timing was wrong, just say, guys, look, I'm really sorry. I just missed that one. Will you just throw some grace to me and let me have another go? Because we will make mistakes as we learn. And the enemy absolutely wants to stop this gift happening because it's so, so powerful. And so he'll do everything. He'll use every kind of attitude we've got to stop that gift happening. And if it's happening, to stop it growing and developing and influencing more people. So pursue love. Earnestly desire spiritual gifts, especially you might prophesy.
Keep rolling. What if you are labeled as a false prophet or something? What if somebody gives a word and there's a lot of controversy over it? And have you ever been labeled that?
Yes, I have.
You've been labeled
I have been labelled a false prophet. And in my instance, to be honest, I cried a lot. I found myself going back after some of the meetings in the church and just going into my room and just crying. God, am I a false prophet? And one day someone came as a visiting speaker, and I'm so grateful to him. His name is Ray Bevan. And he came along, and it was a Saturday night, and he called me out in front of the whole church. And he said, you might make some mistakes, but you're hearing the voice of God. And he loves you, man. Sorry. Oh, gosh.
Good.
Prophecy can just remove all the distress in our lives sometimes, because it's really God's word to us. And I think we need to understand that prophecy and prophets and people growing in the prophetic are emotional people. And we need to nurture them and not put them down. We need to help them. If a pastor makes a mistake, he doesn't get thrown out of a church. A prophet makes one mistake and they're thrown out of a church.
What happened where you were labeled that?
I bought some words that I had bought in the wrong attitude. They were right words, but bought in a completely wrong attitude. So instead of, listen, these are things that are going on that God could really help us through, I said, these are things that are happening because of you. And of course, that's a bad thing to say to some leadership. And then that just spread, and the word spread, and everything else. But in fact, what I said was true. And in years to come, it was absolutely accurate what had been said. It was just a completely wrong attitude. I had no wisdom. I had no one around me at that time to come alongside and say, hey, let's just work this through. Let's have a coffee. Let's have a meal. And I love it when I'm able to just sit down with sort of emerging prophetic people who are perhaps in that situation and be like almost a father to them that I didn't have at that time. Yeah,